It would be fun to take a look at bus stops in Fredericton and rank them from my least favorite to my most favorite, based on a completely subjective, non-scientific, qualitative scale. So I looked at 10 of these and I evaluated on 4 criteria. Does it connect to a pathway or lead directly to a destination without having to cross traffic? Ease of transfer. Does the opposite way really work for me? Third, does it provide a nice place to stand? Out of the elements, is there a shelter there? And lastly, fourth, this is the biggest one to me. Does it provide an advantage to overdriving to and from this destination? And what's the criteria? Well, is the bus stop farther away than the farthest parking spot in the lot? This ranked on average a score of 2.1 out of 10, and you're wondering where that is. So I picked the YMCA on the south side. If we start off, the connectivity, I gave it a solid 6 out of 10. Why? Because you can get off the bus stop here and you can walk in. You've got a dedicated sidewalk and a pathway into the entrance. All right, that's good. If we take a look on the way back, it's a little trickier, crossing there, crossing there, crossing there, and then back again. It's a little more nebulous to leave. And that's also why it got a lower score in terms of ease of transfer, because we have these 2 stops. They're not right across from one another or easily. You have to go a lot farther in a different route to get back. There are no bus shelters here, so that got a score of 0. And is there an advantage to someone over driving here or parking in the spot? No, not at all. Both of these stops are farther away than the farthest spots in the parking lot. So where are we going to go next? The next is a grocery store. It is uptown. And we're looking at Prospect Street at the Sobeys Uptown Center. This has got an overall score of 3.5. And why? When I looked at connectivity, from one direction, it's relatively good. We have a sidewalk, driveway, in. It's the other direction that's a little trickier. Driveway, 5 lanes, slip lane, driveway, enter. All right, so it's a little harder to get into here, and that also feeds into the ease of transfer. If you're going to go back the way you came, you either have to make your way down to that bus shelter there, or you go to this bus shelter here, 200 meters from the entrance. And so are there shelters? Yes, there are. And does it provide any advantage over driving? Not really, right? Like, I gave this a low score. This is farther away than all of these spots here. And in this case, it doesn't really give you an advantage to any of these locations. So it got a score of 2 out of 10. All right, moving on. What do you think is ranked number 8? It is still on the south side. Actually, I looked most here. And this is the Grant Harvey Center. All right, why is this scored so low? Well, let's first look at connectivity. Connectivity is actually really good. We have our bus stops here, and we've got a sidewalk that is dedicated all the way from there, only crossing 2 not very busy driveway here. And then there's the entrance. So, good. Ease of transfer. Well, if I'm going to go to the other direction, yep, it's right there. So I can connect to that with no problem. Are there any shelters? There are no shelters here. Where is the biggest issue? Well, I think you can guess. This is 394 meters from here into the entrance. There is zilch advantage to taking the bus over driving in this case. You are going to be walking 400 meters there and 400 meters back. But not far from here is also another rating just slightly higher at a 4.6 out of 10 compared to a 4.2 is the Corbett Center. This massive development, serving a bunch of big box stores. In terms of connectivity, and this bus stop here, actually, I rated it very well because you can get from anywhere by sidewalk to any place here. It's well connected that way. But in terms of ease of transfer, I gave this a bit lower score, and the reason being that it requires a deviation from the main route. Like you've got the vehicles coming in here, they're only going in on this one side, which is good for transferring because you can get off the bus and get on it right at this one point. But it does make it difficult to go back the opposite direction. In particular, let's say you work at this place right here. You actually have to make your way all the way down here. There's no bus stop even close for going the opposite direction. There is one here to get off and go there, but in terms of shelter, this is really nice. Good shelter, so 10 out of 10. Advantage over driving. Frankly, I can't see it. I'm looking here, and this is not offering you any advantage. You're still farther away than every parking spot to the Home Depot. Much farther away for Costco for getting groceries, though it's probably difficult if you're shopping at Costco to take a whole bunch of stuff on the bus like that. But everything else, except for Princess Auto, it gets a big fat 0 on that score. All right, moving to the next one. Another grocery store, Superstore on Smythe Street. This one rated 4.8. It's a little bit higher than the Corbett Center, but why? Start with the connectivity. It's not too bad. Get off the bus here. You make your way across this busy entrance. Then you make your way here and in. Conversely, back again to the opposite side. So I gave that a pretty good score. I gave that a 6 only because, again, we're crossing this busy road here. But in terms of ease of transfer, this has got a solid 9 because going the opposite direction, it's right there. In fact, you get to cross a set of lights. But in terms of advantage over driving, both farther away than every single parking spot here. All right, now moving to the next 5. This is the top 5, and we're still on the south side here. We're going to the stops on Regent and Prospect Street, right here. Now, I gave this a solid 7 for connectivity, and why? Well, it does allow you access at the busiest places in the city here. This is the busiest intersection, certainly one of them. So you can get off the bus and make your way to these locations. In terms of ease of transfer, though, this got a 5 out of 10. And why? Because if you're going to get off the bus here and take the bus further north, you've got to make your way across this really busy intersection and up again. There's not a direct way to cross the 6 lanes to go to there. And even then, the bus from here loops around and makes its way back again. So there's no advantage to getting off the bus there if you're taking this transferring there. And advantage over driving, I gave this a 6 because there is, again, given the amount of traffic that's happening here, it's probably in some ways easier to make your way and walk to any of these locations if you're working or potentially shopping there. It's just getting back that's the issue. All right, number 4, where do you think that is? It's not far away. It is the Fredericton Medical Clinic. Now, this got a solid 9 because why not a 10? Well, here's the bus stop. Here is the entrance into the medical center. And why did it not get a full 10? Well, there is a bit of a ramp here to get inside. There's a bunch of steps going in rather than an at-grade entry. So that's a little bit longer to get in there. And so I gave that a 9. In terms of ease of transfer, this got a 3 because if you were to ask Google Maps how to get back, you got to basically catch the bus that you came in on and loop around. The only other way, there's nothing on this side. There's no way to get there. Just make your way down here and catch that bus. In terms of advantage over driving, though, it is closer than pretty much every spot here. So if you did have a way to get in and out of here and you had to go to the clinic and you could get back all right, this would provide you a great advantage, which is why I rated so highly. So that gave a solid 6.7 out of 10. So good because it's fronted close to the street, but not so good because you can't really get back that well. All right, moving to the top 3. And still here, Hugh John Fleming Forestry Center. What makes this so good? Well, this is a solid 7 out of 10 overall, a 9 out of 10 for connectivity. Why not a 10? The same issue is observed at the medical clinic. You're coming up to a set of stairs and a ramp to kind of get your way around rather than a direct entrance. In terms of ease of transfer, well, this got a low score because there's only one route going by. So if you want to go to any other location, you're going to have to transfer somewhere else. It just loops around. But I can't tell that if there's a shelter here or not. It's not evident, but it does look like there's a good place to stand here. So that's why it got not a 0 score. In terms of advantage over driving, well done. We do have this stop is closer than every other spot here. So unless I guess you're working over in that spot there, but that's a good thing. Now, the downside of all of this is the circuitous routing of the transit. So instead of being, let's say, here close to the road, so you can get near this route, it does have to deviate in and around, loop around, and take you out again. But that's the subject of another one. All right, top 2. Let's go to number 2. What is it? The Brookside Mall. What makes the Brookside Mall? It's good here. The connectivity. Both of these stops allow you only to cross this one entrance and then into the mall, which is pretty good. I think that's that's great. In terms of its ease of transfer, going back the opposite way, really good, because you're just crossing a sidewalk and the stop is right there. So that's a great benefit. There are 2 shelters here. They're like 2-person shelters. So I gave it a 7 out of 10 instead of a higher score. But in terms of advantage over driving, I gave it a 6 because still this is easier than if you park all the way over here. But as you can tell, I don't know when this was taken, but looks like there's plenty of parking that is a lot closer. But in terms of its ratio to farthest spot in the lot and having to deal with all that traffic, this is closer. All right, we're gone through 9 and we're going to the number 1 of the 10 that I looked at. And where do you think it is? It is on the south side again, and it is the Chalmers Regional Hospital. There's only really, well, I gave it a 9 actually, and I look at it. I gave it a 9 because you're getting on and off the bus stop right here, but you do have to cross this busy driveway. But it is only one way, but to get into the hospital, it's not a direct entry. So I got a 9. Ease of transfer, you actually have the bus coming in here and then leaving this way. So if you are to want to go the opposite way, the bus does loop around and pick you up at the same spot. So it's really easy that way. It's on off at the same point. Shelter, there is a shelter here, so 10 out of 10, or you can wait under there. Advantage over driving, yeah, pretty much 100%. Look at, this is the lot here and set of steps there, and this is the direct entry into the hospital. So it's pretty good that way. So that is the number 1 bus stop of the ones that I looked at. Now, why there are other issues, right? This is again circuitous routing. If this was just fronted a little differently, then it wouldn't have to detour for all the passengers going the other way. But let me know what you think. Maybe you've got your own worst or best bus stops in the city of Fredericton who kind of do the same thing. And there are other stops I've looked at too. I mean, you've got one here where you're not going, if you're working there, you're just not going to get there, right? You're going to have to loop back. So there's other places where they're not that great. But hope you enjoyed this and hope to hear what you have to say.